Hello and welcome to the Gauntlet Trivia League Season 3 All-Star Selection Special. I am your league commissioner and host, Jesse Smith. Today we will be announcing our 15 All-Star selections for Season 3 and unveiling the bracket itself. But before we do that, let's recap the first half of the season and sort of set the stage to see where everybody stands as we gear towards the second half of the season with the playoffs looming large. Where better to start than with the number 1 overall team, Los Vaqueros, sitting at 4-1 overall, 22.6 real trivia score, also leading the league, and perhaps most impressively, they rank 1, 2, and 3 in the player rankings. These guys are dominating, and there's not a player playing better than one on the Vaqueros. Last season, they fell just short after having lost to the Cellar Dwellers in the championship match. We'll see if they can keep this momentum rolling into the second half of the season and beyond, or if something comes up. Teams like Daddy's Darlings, the Pantheon, the Cellar Dwellers, Engineers, all these teams are looking to make their mark on the Vaqueros. They have the target on their back. We'll see how it plays out in the second half. Speaking of some of those other teams, Daddy's Darlings and the Pantheon, 2 newcomers to the league, are both playing pretty strong. The Darlings have picked up 3 straight wins, one of them against the Vaqueros. The Pantheon have picked up 3 wins in the first half of the season themselves and have notched a top 5 ranking for Austin. This team is averaging 10 points per match. The Darlings have won 3 in a row. Both of these teams have a lot to offer this season if they can maintain momentum through the All-Star break and into the second half of the season. And those 2 teams aren't alone. The Cellar Dwellers, the defending champions, are still playing strong in the league, as are the Engineers, the Girls Room, the Chain Gang, and Exile Island. All of these teams are going to have to play well to push themselves into the playoffs and avoid slipping back. Hot Sauce, Apex, Threat Level, Midnight all lay in wait for one of them to make a mistake if they don't push themselves up themselves. This league is wide open this year, and the second half of the season will be nothing short of exciting. With all that said, our attention is at the All-Star break itself. 15 players will be playing for this trivia crown to be named the king or queen of trivia for this season. We have 11 team representatives, so every team is represented in this tournament, the best ranked player on each team, and then 4 more wild card selections. So a 15-man tournament with the top dog getting that first round bye. And we'll start there. The number 1 overall seed, last year's MVP, Brock of Los Vaqueros, still playing as strong as ever. He's had 2 matches where he's turned in a real trivia score of 15 or more. He's averaging 6.5 points per match. It's really no surprise that Brock is the number 1 overall seed. And we've talked about it before, but Myron earns the 2 seed, Granger earns the 3 seed. The Vaqueros get the clean sweep of the top 3 seeds in this All-Star tournament, setting the stage for one of them to possibly take home the crown and be this year's Trivia King. The final top seed this tournament is Austin of the Pantheon. He's a player we haven't seen in some time, but he's one that's been dominating, not unlike any Vaquero. In fact, he's been maybe the steadiest player we've had all season. So he gets that top seed overall and will face the 13th seeded player in this tournament. And as for our 4 other top seeds in this tournament, we have the 5 seed Richie of Apex Predators, one who has set the league record recently for points in a single match. 6 seed Chris, our Season 1 MVP, no doubt a formidable opponent. At the 7 seed, Eric of the Chain Gang, steady and true throughout Season 2. He's doing the same in Season 3. And rounding out that 8 seed is last year's most electric player. It is Steph of the Girls Room, their most prolific scorer and one who could take the crown herself and perhaps be the first queen in Gauntlet history. So let's start looking at those matchups, and we'll start with that 8-9 matchup, one that always brings fireworks. Steph will play Jacob, the representative of the defending champion Cellar Dwellers. This is that heavy-hitting 8-9 seed matchup. The winner gets Brock. It's one you're going to want to lay eyes on. I'm sure there will be fireworks between the most electric player and a defending champion. That's the 8-9 matchup, Steph versus Jacob. At the 10 seed, we have Taylor, our second member of the Girls Room, selected as an All-Star for Season 3. He will play Eric at the 7 seed. This is another incredible matchup. Both players have been very consistent for their own teams, especially in their own consistent categories. In a smaller trivia format with only 6 rounds, we'll see how that category advantage will play as we get Taylor and Eric in the first round. At the 11th seed, we get Matt, the newcomer from Threat Level Midnight, making his first All-Star selection as a rookie. Very impressive. He faces Chris, the Season 1 MVP and a Season 1 champion, in the first round. Next in that 5-12 matchup, one that the experts love to pick upsets, especially on a hot 12 seed this year, it is hot sauce player Donald in the 12 seed, representing Liv Moss as their automatic selection. Remember, Donald was a player who was our Season 1 highest leading scorer, so 5 seed Richie cannot take him lightly. We'll see if any experts select Donald to advance or if Richie can stave off the upset in that 5-12 matchup. And our 13 seed this year is Keaton of the Pantheon, our second member of the Pantheon. And interestingly enough, he does get the 4 seed Austin, his teammate, in the first round, so you will want to watch this matchup as we get a dynamic we haven't seen so far this season to see teammate versus teammate. Remember, this is what the All-Star Tournament is about, every man for themselves. We'll see who comes out on top. Our 14 seed this year is Kyle of Daddy's Darlings, selected as an All-Star and representing the Darlings in the tournament, and he'll face the 3 seed Granger. Can he pull off what would be an immaculate upset against a top player like Granger of the Vaqueros? Another Vaquero with a tough matchup is Myron in the first round as the 2 seed. He gets 15 seed Trevor, a very solid trivia player. Trevor has had a bit of a slide in Season 3, is why he's bumped all the way to the 15 seed, but he will represent the Engineers because King Larry, last year's Season 2 King of Trivia, is ineligible for this tournament, not having played enough matches. So the crown will be put on a new head this year. Will it be the 15 seed Trevor? Will it stay with the Engineers? Will Myron knock him off and advance to the second round? Who knows? But we have 15 players, all of whom vying to be the king or queen of trivia in Season 3. That wraps up the show. We'll give you one last look at the bracket to send us off. I'm Jesse Smith, your trivia host, and this is the Gauntlet.